Hi, I'm Greg from Pivot Stove and Heating, and I just want to say if you're watching this video, congratulations on buying a brand new ESSE 990 wood stove. Now, this video here is put together because we get a lot of phone calls about some stuff you get with the stove, and we thought we'd put this together to help you understand when you're unpacking the stove what you need to do, and some real quick tricks on lighting up a wood stove and getting it going. So let's quickly run you through. So the first thing you want to do is obviously unpack the stove, and you'll notice with the packaging, the easiest one to unpack the stove is the crate has actually secures down the bottom corners of the crate. You can unscrew these, the crate lifts straight off. We also have the ESSE wheels available which bolt onto the side of the stove. Now these are available for hire through our Pivot Stove and Heating stores or through our network. There's another video on that a bit later on, so please we'll show you a bit more about that. But this is about now you've got the stove in a position and you're going to unpack it. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you get all the protection coatings off every bit of stainless. And the things we find, the hot plate covers are straightforward, easy, you'll peel them off. But on the back here, on the hinges, you want to be able to also make sure you peel the white off the hinges too, and off any of the doors as well. You want to make sure, please get it off before you light your stove, because once you light the stove, it will melt on and it makes it a nightmare to get rid of. First thing you're going to do when you get home is you open up the oven, and ESSE come complete with a whole lot of bag of everything you need. And there are three things in here. I want to run you through exactly what they are. You're going to get 2 or 3 different size Allen keys. Now it's important, do not throw these out, you will need the Allen keys. There is one size Allen key we're going to use to actually fix the tail rail to your wood stove. There is a much smaller intricate size Allen key which is designed for going under here on the tail rail. Now what that's for is that it'll stop you turning the tail rail. So if you like the idea of turning it, you don't need to do it up. But personally I think it's nice to have a nice secure tail rail. I would nip it up and that'll lock it into position. Now the third size is actually for the hot plate, and this is the number one question we get, is how the hell do I get the hot plate off the stove? And I'll show you, it's really easy. Did you unpack your wood stove and want to know what the hell these are? Yes, these weird looking bent bits of metal with a thread on it. These are the lifting arms designed on all ESSE wood stoves to get the hot plate off. And these are all designed to screw into the hot plate. So I'm going to quickly remove the hot plate off our brand new 990 CH model, and I'll show you how easy it is to get the hot plate off the wood stove. So as I mentioned before, there are 3 different size Allen keys you're going to get with the stove. Basically find which one fits. It's not that one, it's that one, pretty simple. And what you can do is undo the 2 locking nuts or the 2 fixing nuts on top of your stove. The next thing you want to do is now grab the 2 different lifting handles you've got. Now these will screw in. Now I've got to tell you, sometimes I get these straightaways and other times I've got to put my tongue in a certain position on my mouth to get them in, but they do screw in as simple as that. Now what this gives you is 2 lifting handles to physically lift the hot plate off. Oh. Now the really cool thing with this ESSE hot plate setup, with the way they've transported, these are called transport fixings. Now you've just brought an ESSE wood stove. It has literally travelled from one side of the world to the other, all the way from this beautiful town called Bunalswick, which is in the middle of nowhere, to your home. And you'll notice you've unpacked it, and the top of your stove there are no chips, no marks. And the benefit for that is what ESSE have invented, these little H supporting brackets. During that transport with all the boat trips and the car trips and the truck trips, that hot plate did not move and did not chip because it's fixed by these. So these are transport locking nuts designed to lock the hot plate down during transport so it doesn't move in transport. Now ESSE may disagree with me with this, but I do know these are not required after the fact. So when you do put your stove back together, you can put your hot plate cover back on, hot plate back on. You can drop the screws straight through the hot plate. You don't need to use these. Now if you prefer to, the easiest way to line it up is basically with a toothpick to try and line up the 2 holes. So when you screw the screw back through the hot plate, you can then try and line these things up. I am a Boy Scout from old days and also love my fires. I like a bit of a pyromaniac. But it's important to light your fire with plenty of kindling, and do not be afraid to get some good quality kindling. Do not waste your time with bark and leaves. It is not worth your time to do it. You're trying to light up a wood stove. She is 300 plus kilos of cold cast iron when you first get it home. You've got to get some heat into it, and to do that you're going to need fire. And a good quality starting base, or getting your fire going, some good quality kindling is going to make the difference of you struggling for 4 hours or getting the thing going real quick. And I'm going to show you how quickly it is to do it. Now we're in our Dandenong showroom. We've just changed our showroom around. This is the 990WN, means it's got no hot water. Now the 990 has also available with the WD, with the domestic hot water, and the 990CH with the hydronic boiler, the big mother one. If you buy a wood stove, being an ESSE or any other brand on the market, and you have it with the hot water jacket, you cannot light the stove until the water is connected. Now this is a really important statement. I want to make sure we get a lot of clients saying, I'll get the plumber in next week to connect it. No. If you have your stove not connected to the hot water, you will damage it. So it's really important that just take a breath. If your plumber can't be there for a week, the stove's going to be there for the rest of your life. 1 week will not kill you. Please wait for the plumber to connect the hot water pipes correctly so you can use your stove with the correct fittings and the water running through it. So this is cool. A fire's now lit for the first time. Now there are a couple of things which are about to happen which I want to make sure that you'll be comfortable with. Number one is the smell. Now this stove here is brand new. It was made in England. It's been all the way over. It's landed here in Australia. During the manufacturing process, a lot of oils were used, and those oils need to be burnt off the metals. Now the smoke you're about to get off the stove will come out of all weird little places and off the top. That smoke is traditionally called Eunice. So it's not smoke from the fire, it's actually the oils burning off the stove. Now it can give off a bit of an odour for the room. It will not stain your paintwork, but it can set off your smoke detectors. So it's a good idea today is if you do have the wood stove going, light it up early in the morning with the windows open in the home. This Eunice smell can go for anything up to 8 to 10 hours. And what you want to do is slowly bring the stove to temperature over that period of time and run it at a nice moderate to hot oven for the next 8 hours to burn all that stuff off. When you let your stove go off, the second time you light your stove, you may get a tinge back. It really, some do, some don't. But after your third fire, it should be well and truly gone as long as you've got the stove nice and hot. So personally, I wouldn't cook in the oven for at least the third fire off any wood stove. It's just a personal thing. The Eunice smell is not dangerous in any aspects, but if you do have asthma or lung issues, I would definitely leave the home and get somebody to light the stove there for you. Anything can affect those sort of problems like I've got with my lungs. Second thing you're going to notice, it's going to leak. Yes, it sounds weird. We've lit a dry stove and it's going to leak. In the last 9 months since the stove's been made, it's come over from the northern hemisphere to the southern hemisphere. There's a lot of humidity in the air, and unfortunately humidity likes dry spots. Your wood stove, and it's been stored in a nice dry area. It's quite common to actually see water dripping at the front of your stove for the first or second fire. It's also quite common for that to happen if you don't use your stove through the whole summer period in quite a humid area, and then you relight it again in the winter. That stored humidity inside the stove can also leak out through it again. So don't be afraid if you do get a few drips of water. Now if you do have a wet version and your kitchen is being flooded, you have a problem. Get your plumber back straight away. But for any wood stove, we're expecting to see some water dripping down the front. The third point now is the actual hot plate. Now this hot plate is brand new. It's a machine metal. They're pretty cool. They're really nicely finished off. But being a raw metal, as it heats up, it will change colour. Now all wood stoves, eventually they go quite blue over this side within the first 5 or 6 fires, and then eventually it tends to travel through there. I tend to treat my hot plate like a barbecue, season it. And if you get some nice olive oil, do not use sunflower oil, do not use any processed oil. 100% proof olive oil is the best thing to do. And as your hot plate gets a little bit of warmth into it, a little bit of olive oil on the rag and wipe over the hot plate. It's important not to do it when your stove is red hot. It will ignite, or can ignite, that olive oil. We don't want that to happen. So it's all about just treating or seasoning the hot plate. Probably the biggest common or the biggest issue you're going to have with your wood stove is the wood. Now, this is an argument or a discussion. We use the word, and I'm going to use the word argument, an argument we have all the time with clients about making sure the stove will perform. This is the ESSE 990 wood stove. You have brought the world's cleanest burning wood stove. This is a coolest stove I've ever seen. It has the first secondary air chamber, or the afterburn technology, to reburn the smoke. It has a secondary one, this magnificent porcelain catalytic converter. You don't get this technology on anything else in the market, bar in this stove. And it's designed to burn everything into the wood, all the volatiles, all the PMs, all the carbon emissions. It's designed to burn at the cleanest burning wood stove in the world. But it's only as good as the fuel you put inside of it. Now, we have this argument all the time that, oh, my tree's been dead for 100 years. That's fine. It's got nothing to do about the age of the wood, it's the moisture. And if it's outside in the rain, or you just pull it out of a swamp, it potentially could be green or holding moisture being wet. Now there's only one way to answer that question, this. This is a moisture meter. If you're going to buy anyone a Christmas present or a birthday present, buy them one of these. It's the coolest thing you can buy for a wood heater or wood stove. What this is, it has a probe on it, what tells you the moisture level of the wood. Now, it's imperative that you understand that if you put wood in the stove which is too green, too wet, it can't burn the water out of it, and that water will clog your stove up with this disgusting black carbon, this creosote, which is disgusting. If you burn the wood correctly, you're left with grey ash, and that's what we're going to teach you today, is how to do it. Now, wood. I love the expression fuel management program, and that's what we're about to do today. We're going to give you a fuel management program for your wood stove. Wood is like food for fire, and as you and I both know, food comes in all different calories and good stuff and bad stuff. Bad wood is not particularly bad wood, it's just not good for the stove. The denser the wood, the more weight in it, the more calories this has. So if I was going to burn the stove overnight, I want to make sure I can get some good quality, dense, red gum boxwood, something with some weight inside of it, and that's going to give a great overnight burn. But for cooking dinner, it's not probably the best wood. It takes a long time to get it going. So some nice light of cypress, some pine, some boxwood is fantastic for cooking during the day. But a combination of different woods are going to make your stove work differently depending on what you feed it. But no matter what you burn, the moisture is going to be the issue. Now, these moisture meters, the only way to know that your wood is how good it is you need to split a brand new log. So don't get an existing log and shove it on the outside. What you're trying to get is the core. That's where the moisture is held in the wood. Unfortunately, wood dries from the outside in. So the last thing to burn out of it, or to dry out of it, is the moisture in the middle. So with your moisture meter, make sure you push it well and truly in the wood, and you're trying to get a reading out of it. Now, in your wood, you do not want to burn anything over 18%. Now, yes, the manual says 22, that's fine, I'm saying 18. At 22%, it's really borderline. That really is, you're getting up there, and you're going to start, if you don't get the fire nice and hot, you will be left with creosote. At 18%, you've nailed it. You put it in there, it's going to burn brilliantly. Now, these moisture meters are available through Pivot Stove and Heating, through Bunnings stores, through Harvey Norman, through your hardware stores. Give us a call if you don't have one. Buy yourself a Christmas present this year, grab yourself one of these. And if you get the wood right with your wood stove, there's no questions. The ESSE 990 will outperform any other wood stove in the market if you get the wood right. We have heaps more information on the ESSE cookers in other videos, especially one on cleaning and maintenance. Please check that out, then you've got your cooker, so you know how you can look after your stove for many years. Now, one last thing, you need to register your cooker. Now, you can do this online at pivotstove.com.au. Scroll down to here, click on this button, you know how to fill out a registration form, but make sure you do register your ESSE cooker. Oh, and one last thing, email us. Chuck a photo of your ESSE 990 stove, how you've installed it in your house, on our Facebook page. I love seeing how these stoves go in, and they go in all different types of homes, and we'd love to see how you've put your 990 cooker in your home. I'm Greg from Pivot Stove and Heating. This is the ESSE 990 cooker, and I love it.